Good Wednesday to you, everybody in COM 731. Welcome to week kaboom 9, which is modular week. No work, no readings, no questions. Coffee, of course. The last of the cup. Much better. Now, here I am, your sufficiently caffeinated communication instructor to tell you a teensy bit short video about week 9, modular week. Okay. All of you have your papers back, okay? Some of you I've asked to speak with you. If I did, please reach out and let's make an appointment. I am book solid for all of Friday, most of Thursday. I mean, there are a number of people, and I have other classes too, in which I'm doing the same thing. There are a number of people who've gotten back to me and said, hey, can I talk to you about this? And I'm happy to sit down and give you a good chunk of time, whatever it takes, to answer your questions and get you on your way as a writer and a researcher, because that's what we're about here. We're about professional development. All right. In the interim, that is between now and next week, work on your technology tool, which is due October 28th. And that's not until, what is today? Today is the 16th. So that's, a couple of weeks and some change, or about a week and some change. Okay. From now. Okay. So, in terms of other things that you might do, we have a final examination in this class. One of the things that you could start doing from here on back is just going back and reviewing the source material that focused on the discussion questions for week by week. And what do I mean by that? Go back and review the chapters, what you're going to be asked to do on the final exam. And this isn't until December, so don't panic, anybody. But what you're going to be asked to do on the final exam is there's going to be some, multiple choice, some true, false, and some short answer. Notably, I'll ask you, what is it that author X, Y, and Z said about point ABC? Or please explain, the following terms. All right. So through Hoke and macroeconomics, and then now in, the new book that we've started, okay, Digital Age. I want you to have command of the ideas. Now, you don't have to agree. And as I've mentioned in talking about the this book that we're here currently reading, the new Digital Age, there's a lot that I didn't agree with. In fact, I disagreed so much, I decided to do a dissertation on some of the major points. That's good. Not that I did a dissertation, not good, but if you look at it and you have a disagreement, but what you want to make sure that you do, in whatever you read, I'm not so sure about that. What's the evidence? All right, because the overarching point, besides getting a command, getting your hands around some of the major authors and their ideas that we're dealing with, the overarching point, the thing that you're aiming for is to improve your skills as an investigator. And as you go forward in your papers, especially as you make corrections and tweak, and a lot of you, whether I asked to hear from you or not, one of the constant themes was citation. And yes, I know it can be draining. You're like, oh, geez, I got to cite this. Yeah, you do, because that's how academic writing works. All right. And as you go forward in your papers, and you're evaluating your work and you're evaluating the work of others, that is the sources that you're citing, conscientiously think like an investigator, but not like an advocator. Now, what do I mean by that? Do I mean that you are not supposed to have a position and something you're passionate about and something that you advocate for? No, I do. I certainly do. But you will be a stronger advocator for whatever it is that you're passionate about if you learn how to be an impartial investigator, and a really good one, because I don't know who, I don't know where, and I don't know what, why, but I will absolutely guarantee you that at some point in the future, along that line, may it please God that it's a long one for all of us. Okay, at least, in this material existence, along that line, There are going to be individuals who disagree with you. And, maybe their arguments are well founded, maybe they're not. One of the things that I have found as a communication professional, and I came to this already with training as an historian. So I had a number of years of training in how to deal with historical documents and sort of sniff out if what they said was going on had actually gone on, which, if someone makes a claim in a historical document about how something happened or not, well, that's part of the historical picture that is either their perception or their presentation. But you need to be able to ferret out, okay, did it happen this way, or is this perception to happen this way? And as I developed those skills over many, many years, I came to realize that, and this isn't a criticism, that most people are driven forward in their behavior by what I call secondary motivations. And those secondary motivations are frequently grounded in emotional response. What do I mean by secondary motivations? Well, they say, well, I'm doing this, and they are absolutely aware of what it is that they're doing. I'm opposing your point of view, your position. That's not something that they are saying, but they don't really mean. Oh, they mean it. All right. But what's the motivation behind it? And frequently, it's an emotional response to something. It's not grounded in careful evaluation of the evidence. Now, sometimes it is, but frequently it is not. So how does this relate to the difference between investigator and advocator? You're going to be better able to defend the position that you advocate for if you have learned the skills to be a good impartial investigator, because then you can, instead of the classic phraseology for this is he said, she said. Okay, but let's throw the gender out. Instead of this emotional being says, as opposed to this emotional being says, and you're one of the two. So now you've just got an argument about who feels that they are right. Okay, instead of falling into that cycle for which there's really no resolution, you can fall back on the evidence. And by the way, this is the second thing I want to mention to you and encourage you, whether it's your technology tool or the second part of your paper. If you realize this, if you get your head around this, that your job as an academic, as a researcher, is to be a good investigator, not advocator, it's a win-win for you, because all you got to do, your job, is just ask the important question. What's going on here? Do we get this right? Is there something that we're missing? Is the literature, it's gone in the wrong direction? We're not looking at this. Whatever your approach is, or no one's talked about this, and we really ought to be talking about this right now, wherever you're at. Okay, your job is just to ask the relevant questions and then answer them. And if the answer is yes, this is going on, great, you've done your job. If the answer is no, this really isn't going on, great, you've done your job. You see how this is a win-win as an investigator? Because it's not your job to set out to prove something. That's now you're moving into territory of advocator. It's your job to test something. So become strong, confident, informed investigators, so you're better able to support your work that you advocate for. All right, that's what I'd like you to be focusing on as you go through the remarks from stage 1 of the paper and start looking at what you're going to be doing differently in stage 2. Okay, all right, everybody, thank you so much for all the work that you're putting in this semester. I really appreciate it. Enjoy Modular Week. I hope you get a little bit of a break. If you have questions about your papers, I've got a little bit of time left today, and then some on Thursday and Friday. I've just booked, but I'll be back on Monday. Okay, so shoot me an email and make an appointment, and I will catch up with you then. All right, everybody. I think about you. I pray about you. Have a wonderful rest of the week. God bless. Bye-bye.